Hello, hello, and welcome to Felting Fun with Steph and
Jo.
I forgot which. Oh yeah, that side. I just one day I'll get it right, won't I?
I'm not even good at
So here we are again, and we missed July, didn't we? Let's be honest, we missed July.
We did miss July. So July was a bit of an odd. Well, it was a bit of an odd month for both of us. I think you were in the midst of moving house and still are, and we were in the midst of everybody had COVID. We all had COVID.
Oh yeah. I also had a poorly cat. Bless her, little.
Oh, you did. Yes. Yeah.
Bless her little cotton socks. So yes. July was a busy sort of. So anyway, so we're back in August with a vengeance.
We're back, and we'll be back in September.
Yes. So the title today is sort of legs and feet, or it's kind of that detail-y bit, isn't it, that lots of people have questions and struggle with, and but before we get there, we obviously need to talk about prizes and nice things like that. So show us your prizes.
Well, the prize for August is one of our gorgeous wool felting mats.
Love them.
In fact, if I'm feeling super generous, I might actually put in a pack of the 3 different sizes, because this is the biggest one. And I'm having a little look around to see if there's any in arm's reach. I don't have the medium one up here. I've got a small one, which I'll probably show. Oh, here we go. Here's the little one. It's really cute.
Oh, that's really useful when you're doing legs and things and you want to put something in between while you're just really useful.
Yeah, it's such a useful size, and actually it's even useful for storing your felting needles in, just having next to you. Like a pin cushion, I guess. It's like one of these kind of stress buster things. I just love them. It's just such a nice size. So you'll get a large one and a medium one and a small one. Colours.
That's a good prize.
Yeah.
Can I subscribe, like, and comment as well?
You may, of course you may. It always makes me laugh when we run the magic machine that picks the names out, and you can watch all the names, and your name comes up again and again.
It's me. Absolutely brilliant.
What have you got?
So my giraffe course, and I'm just suddenly thinking I'd probably this is dreadful because I've half packed my studio, which is a trauma in itself, and I'm thinking I'm sure I've got one of the giraffes. Excuse me a minute. I should have been a bit more prepared. Have I got one over here? She said,
"Yes, one appeared earlier."
I have got one.
I'll just we'll just chat amongst ourselves while you Yes.
I've got Tango rather than Prince this time. Tango with his orange, bless him. So I've got my little online course which shows you how to make Tango, and for the competition, if you win, I'll send you the fibres to make him as well. So there we go.
Brilliant. That's a super prize.
And
a couple of really good results we've seen already. Did Heather make one?
I know.
Who else made one?
Yes. Sue. It was Sue and Heather. Yeah, we've still got a couple of more to come, but yeah, absolutely fantastic. Love them. Love them.
Really good.
Sharing, that's one of the great things, isn't it, when everyone shares everything that they've done. I love watching what they're all.
It's nice to see. So to be in with a chance of winning a prize, you just need to comment, like, and subscribe to the channel
below, and I'll have a little thing across the screen to remind you to do that. So
we had some questions, didn't we, from we asked for some questions, and you are the question master tonight. So
I am indeed. Right. Okay, which one shall we go for first? Okay, so Janet said she'd like some advice on using sprays and wax. She used several coats of hairspray on her rooster's feet, partly to get the texture right, but also the wool tight. She'd like to know what's the best way to keep fingers and toes from becoming too fat.
Okay.
Yes. So, I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Because the whole toe come foot thing is one of those things that you do perfect, and we all start off with robins and things, really, don't we?
Yeah.
And one of the things that in fact, it's in the video for the Crafty kit birds, and we separated out the feet as well, didn't we, so that people could just look up the feet. But you probably won't be able to see it unless you can go in on this on your screens. But when I wind up the toes, I always leave a loop on the end, and then I snip that loop so that I can pull it out to be a claw.
That was such a good tip.
And I just think that helps also, because my tip with regards to initially wrapping, obviously if you've got a kit you're going to use what's in the kit, but if you're having a bit of a practice yourself, find it. This is a good thing for using merino wool. If you've got your Amazon merino little packs, this is the time to use it, because it's flat and it will be quite long, and where you can't use it probably very well in your felting, it enables you to produce a nice little ribbon, so that when you want to wrap, because obviously in lots of the kits you don't have to wrap anything around the feet at all, but if you've suddenly decided you want to get texture and everything, it just means that you can hang on to it and wrap it really easily, and that will go quite flat to the wire. My tip is make it really, really, really thin, because you wrap to the end and then wrap back again, so you don't get a loose end at the end.
Yeah, that's always a bit tricky, isn't it? If you need to go backwards and forwards, so you don't want to use too much wool, otherwise it will be fat, which was the issue Janet wanted to solve. And you're not then having to felt it at all. You're not poking it with the needle. You're just making sure that it's wrapped really tightly. Now you could. So was Janet asking about what using waxes and sprays?
Waxes and sprays and things. Yeah.
Because that, well, it's going straight onto wire, but you know, a bit of, I've seen, I don't use it myself, but I think Alison Rumbles is quite a big fan of using lanolin in a pot, which is really sticky. It's quite, I don't really like that kind of messy work, which is why I never do wet felting. So
no, I don't like that. I don't do wet felting.
Yes, and gluiness, it's not really my bag. So I never really like the feeling of it, but it's brilliant for getting wool to stick to itself.
The other thing I've played with is that if you've extended out the toe, so you've got the wire toe, I have actually got loads of beeswax, because we used to keep bees. Don't know if you knew that. Did you know we used to keep bees? Anyway, we might have mentioned it before, but anyway, so we've got loads of wax, but you can get felter's wax as well, which is in all different colours. So I used to put some wax on the little toe bit, just so it wasn't wire, you know, and I would have a little bit on my finger, and so then I would just use that to put round, as opposed to lopping on a load of it and then thinking, oh my god, now I've got it nice and thick, and it's difficult. But one thing about waxes is the first time you add wax, it just soaks into the wool. So do whatever you need to do and leave it. The mistake I think people make is, oh, I'll just add another bit, and then you'll have blobs of it all over the place.
Oh yes, too much.
So that's so that's less is more.
Yeah, have you ever tried hair wax?
No.
Yeah. So you don't want to use lanolin, or you can't get hold of lanolin, use a sticky hair wax or a hair putty, not the gloopy stuff, but the stuff that's kind of almost solid in the pot. And honestly, one pot of hair wax will last you about 30 years probably.
Yeah, it would do, wouldn't it? Jeez, that's just reminded me, is that when I sometimes do little wrappings like that, is I put hand cream on my hand first, and just that along the wax just gives a little bit to actually keep everything all tucked in as you do it. You just reminded me of that by doing that. Yeah.
Great hint.
Oh, just wreck the table. So.
You wreck the table, and I'm exposing my underwear. But do you know what? I've been doing this. I've just been walking about all day with my bra just kind of on show, thinking, it just looks like a vest. So sorry about that, but I'm just going to kind of give up trying to hide it because it just keeps.
Just go with it. Yeah.
I'm just going to go with it. So.
I mean, when you do that, you just have to. This is on purpose, don't you? It's like, this is meant to have this look. I'm meant to do like this.
What you don't do is you don't tell everybody that's watching your YouTube video exposing your underwear.
Style it out. That's what they say, don't they? Style it out. It was meant to be. Oh dear. Right, where did I put this? The trouble with the yeah. You see, this is where I'm not an admin person because I've just randomly thrown the questions somewhere and I now need to go and find them. So
I like
I've got them now.
Question and answer format. Good, isn't it?
It is. It is good. I like it. Okay. How do you get the wire really tight so that the feet aren't too clunky? I have only done one kit with the feet, but my dog got hold of it and killed it. Nice. So I don't have any photos to demonstrate what I mean.
Sorry to hear that.
Bless. But has watched the video, needs more practice. But yeah, sorry.
I'm presuming that this lady, presuming it's a lady,
Carol Notman. Yeah.
Oh, Carol Notman. Carol came to see me.
Oh,
yeah, the other day.
There you go.
She appeared in the workshop a couple of days ago, but it's Wednesday now. It must have been Monday. And she'd come from all the way over from Fife. I think Carol might have thought we had a shop, but she came to get some wool. And
it does look like you have a shop, to be honest.
Well, we did used to have a shop until we needed space to make kits. So, hi, Carol. And so I'm going to presume that Carol's made one of our kits with a twisted wire.
Yes, and then she did watch the video, and then she has got some pliers, but has only done it once.
Yes, I think that as we were saying earlier, the trick to that is just practice. It's just practice, and using the pliers really does help. Although you can twist that wire with your fingers, but it's quite difficult. But the trick also when using the pliers, because it's so much easier using the pliers to twist the wire, is just to go really slowly when you're twisting. So if you twist wire too quickly, it'll heat up too much, although it won't feel hot in your hands, but the wire just comes under too much tension and it'll end up snapping. So I
used to do that a lot, actually. I used to snap it a lot when I very first. You think, why do I do? But you're right, it's just the whole getting just a little bit too keen on it, isn't it? Whereas
just twist it slowly, and it's just practice, and you should get it quite neat, really. And that the twisted wire method for making the bird's feet is just a really nice kind of beginner's introduction. They didn't need to be covered with any wool. They look quite nice just left as they are, or you could use wrapping them really
I love the colour of the wire that you have in the kits as well. Is that kind of
it's lovely,
bronzy, coppery, it's lovely, which works quite well. But as I say, you can still do that little claw bit as well. I like the claw bit because it then holds on. When you've got the piece, it helps to stand up.
Yes. It's a really good
claws
tip.
In. Yeah. I've I was just going to show, just going to an extreme as I like to. Let me get mine.
She's back.
I know, I'm back. So this is my.
Oh yeah, let's have a look.
Now their feet, and with really long claws. So that was just wire with wool wrapped round. And of course, when you look at birds' feet, they aren't actually these nice little flat little things. They are quite gristly, aren't they, type things?
Yeah, quite knobbly.
So, so these are quite knobbly with their very long,
not sure.
So, and that, I'm just trying to think, did I put any wax? No, I didn't put any wax on that. So I think I'll put a little bit of, as I say, I think I use sometimes a bit of glue on my fingers and just to give it, or that hand cream, but otherwise you get it too much because they're quite tiny, aren't they? So put that on there.
Steph, have you, or do you ever use polymer clay?
Yes. Now I don't. I use a Japanese brand, I'm trying to remember the name of it, but I tend to always use the cream one and paint it with nail varnish or something, whatever colour I want it to be. But in fact, my meerkat, the claws on my meerkat, they are polymer clay, for those.
Okay. And did you make them first and then add them on, or did you put them onto the meerkat and put the whole thing in the oven?
Oh God, no, not bakeable ones. No, I don't bake them. No, this is air drying. Air drying.
Air
Modena. I use Modena. Modena.
Modena air dry clay. Right. So which you get in a natural colour, and
if I needed to colour it, then I would do. In fact, I quite often use, the pens that we have, the little Copic markers, or even the little paint things that we quite often use, to do faces. I will quite often use those on the clay as well, because they colour up really, really quickly, the polymer. But air drying, make the piece first, and then I would add on. And I did the same with my pangolin, because they're huge claws, and I made them afterwards, and then I cut a little hole in the fingers of the piece and glue it in. That's when I use glue. I do use glue.
Then you use glue. Well, glue definitely has its place. So that's really interesting. So air dry clay that you can then paint afterwards, or polymer clay, which you can. Now I know that you can add the claws, or Alison Rumbles, she creates all these amazing dogs, and foxes and things with shiny black noses. So she makes all of the noses individually from polymer clay, and they go onto the dog, and then the whole dog goes into the oven.
Oh.
Because it's only going in at 150 degrees.
Right.
It's a very, very low temperature, so it's not hot enough to do any damage to the wool, but it bakes that nose on in place.
Now, instead of that, what I do, I sometimes have used wax. I've made the nose out of wool. Sometimes I've used wax, and sometimes I've used like PVA glue, or a different. I've actually got a different brand, but it's basically PVA.
Yes.
Which once again sinks in, and then you put it on again. It just gives that little shine to it. But I'm useless at making noses out of polymer clay, so I'm much better at felting them on and going like that, and then putting an effect on, and that's how I do.
Okay. Good. And I guess we're not talking about limbs anymore. We seem to have somebody.
I've got another limb question that somebody asked. I just suddenly remembered, because
come back to limbs.
We'll come back to limbs, because we were doing armatures, and we were saying how last time we do it all in one, and some of them do it wound all the way round. Others are attaching bits. Somebody asked, and I can't remember who it was, but they were saying, so they've seen that some people make the body of whichever creature it is, and then they actually do like a wire for the legs and put them on, and it's like, yes, there are lots of artists that do that, and they were saying, is that a reason or a choice thing? It's an absolute choice thing, because I'm pretty sure that Cindy Lou, who makes fabulous Alsatian dogs, sometimes she does that with hers, and other times she doesn't, and it's just her choice, I guess, of the position that the animal's going to be, and how I guess if it's lying down, it's easier to do it afterwards. Pure choice thing.
About finding a way that works for you, to be honest. And for people who are starting out with armatures, I would suggest probably, as we said, looking at the skeleton of the animal to get the proportions right, and working from the inside out, and building up. So you'd literally start with a basic skeleton and then add the wool, so that you're sculpting, and start that way. But then try it a different way. There's no right or wrong way to do it.
I guess also, if you're someone who always gets to that point and then thinks, oh my God, the legs are too long or too short or something, then that might work for you, that you do the body bit and then go, let me do the legs separately, because now I know how long they need to, because we all have different difficulties of the bit that we always go, oh God, here we go, there's this bit I hate.
Well, and actually talking about legs being too long, and that stage, I've seen a lot of people work this way. I know that Alison works this way. I know that Michaela Bartlett, I'm sure, works this way as well, with her fabulous foxes and badgers and all the beautiful wildlife that she creates, where she creates the armature completely, you know, spine and front legs and back legs and so on. But the wire for the back legs is much longer than it's going to end up being, so that it can actually be pushed into the sponge or whatever it is that she's working on. So that's the strong wire is used to stabilize the armature while she's working on it, and then it's the legs and the feet are finished last, I presume, and then they're cut down to size.
And as you say, you always see that, don't you, on her pieces when she shows you her halfway through. And whenever I see that, I think, well, I must try that next time, and I never do. Just because I'm obviously so familiar with my own little way of doing it. I like to have a little rounded bit for the foot, and that's how because I quite often make my toes separately and then add it, and I like to put it within this little, and it's just my way that I've done it. And you think, yeah, I'm never going to get around to, and I know that she uses, but I use magnets, you see, to hold mine. Magnets?
Do tell. What's I can't get my head around that.
Yeah, so I actually I'm trying to think if I got anything up here which has got the magnets in. So when I actually stand my pieces, in fact, the piece that really shows it is my Pegasus, who's rearing up.
Yes.
In his feet, there's magnets, and in the tail, there's magnets, and obviously a magnet in the stand. So he can pop off, but when I'm making them, I have to put the magnet inside. For a while, I used to really struggle, and I've now found magnets with holes so that I can actually sew it round the armature wire, and it's not going to actually come off.
Amazing. But magnets. Talking about magnets, can I just? I'm going.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Loving the badge.
It's lovely, isn't it? And it's got nothing to do with needle felting at all, but it is brand new and it's magnetic, so I thought I'd just show it off. Look at that!
And it needs to be shown off. And what else can you use that for then?
Well, it's actually, its main purpose is not as a badge. It's a needle minder, which is magnetic, so you put it onto your cross stitch or your tapestry or your embroidery, and your needle sticks to it, so you don't lose your needle.
Could use it for needle felting.
Could you?
Oh, for the needles.
For putting your needles onto. What do you mean?
You can put your needles on there. Can you flat?
Well,
because I'm always shoving I here at the moment. I've got about 10 of them lying around on the desk.
It might be a bit dangerous.
More than having them hanging around on my desk. Obviously, I wasn't thinking of wearing them. Launching weapons at people. Can you imagine meeting someone? Oh, I'm so sorry. Bit of a hug there. Went a bit too far. No, I was thinking on your work. I was thinking having it as a needle.
Why would you do that? That's so ridiculous.
I'm not hugging you, I tell you. Those things on you.
That's a really silly idea. So, yeah, I'm quite tired actually. But actually, that's really good because that proves that they are indeed magnetic with felting needles. And yes, you could. I'm sure we could find a use.
I know it would be much better if I did actually put mine into a holder. But my problem is, as with everything in my life, I finish using things and I randomly just put them down, and I just end up with this mess of stuff around. So if I had a magnet on my desk, which, I have magnets on my pieces, if I had a magnet on my desk, perhaps everything would just go vroom to the magnet. As I randomly put it down, it just vroom to the... That would be great. I like that idea.
Really good for tidying up, wouldn't it? Tell you what I'll do. I'll pop one of these in with my prize as well, so you'll get a set. Felting mat. I'm feeling really generous. I must be really over tonight.
Yes.
3 felting mats and one of our needle handy felting. So there we go. Anyway, we digress. Is there another question?
Right. So that was Carol. Janet Peters, thank you for the armature workshop. That was really useful. Hands and feet. I know a lot of people struggle with the robin feet, but after watching a tutorial, I don't find them as much a challenge. I have steered away from human hands. Feet can be covered with boots, socks. Again, not easy. I struggle painting hands, so avoided felting them on figures. I understand that a human hand, theoretically, should be the same size as the face. Is that right? I suppose spread out. Yeah, seems like. Looks like we're doing the Alien, doesn't it? Yeah, kind of. I suppose. Well,
yeah, good.
Okay. It should be the same size, but not sure that applies to felting, as felted people are not to scale, or is that where I'm going wrong? Oh, okay. So now, people. I do people, and I am actually doing a couple at the moment, but I can't show them because it's actually for a present. So that's for another day. But I have a fantastic book. I'm going to disappear for a second again. Right. Okay. If you want to know how to do everything to do with people, hands the lot.
Yes.
This is the book.
Ah, brilliant. That looks really good.
And she shows you how to do caricatures like that where the head's big, but also how to do them the right size. And she shows you two ways of doing the hands, one with wire and one without. Now, I would always do them without, because what I use is a cocktail stick to wrap the wall around, and then would place them around and then felt it together. So that's how, and that's how she, in fact you can see her hands sort of thing there, that's how she's done them there. But it's a brilliant book if you absolutely want to know how to do it. It shows you the armature, the details of the face and everything. I always follow it. It's brilliant.
I think the issue with hands is just the getting the fine detail. I think it's just because it's such a tiny thing. Who is it now? I'm probably going to get her name wrong.
Oh,
Anna Potapova. Is that?
Yes, that's it. That's it. She does beautiful dolls.
Absolutely beautiful dolls. They're just stunning with the sweetest faces, and all the clothes and everything are handmade. The whole thing is. They're just beautiful little works of art. So she would be somebody that I would suggest being inspired by, and have a look at her work and have a look at the detail that she gets on there, or lack of detail, and how even something that doesn't necessarily look exactly like a human hand still is recognizable as a hand. And I think was the question about proportions and is it really necessary to have exact proportions? Well, I would suggest that Anna's dolls are probably not truly proportionate. The heads are probably,
but they look beautiful, and you don't look at it and think, "Oh, that's out of proportion."
Exactly, and the hand.
She has done a little online PDF for her hands and things as well. So if people look her up, I think you buy it via Etsy, but she does show you how to do some of her marvellous.
Definitely worth looking up. She's very generous with her, sharing her hints and tips and so on as well. So
and also, if I was doing the fingers, I mean, I might do some nail polish, but I would just add that on as colour. I wouldn't worry about indenting where the nail was, because for me, that would just be a detail too far that I wouldn't, and I would just obviously make sure that the fingers were, one slightly longer than the other, but I wouldn't be going for any more than if it was a lady that's likely to wear nail polish, or men actually for that matter, but I would just, put colour on rather than.
Yeah, lovely. Good.
Fantastic.
Anything else in hands and feet? I was just laughing earlier with Steph, because we always have lots of samples to show in our programs. All of my samples are currently packed up in crates down in Harrogate in the warehouse, waiting for the next trade show, which is Autumn Fair at the NEC.
Oh,
so have a look and see which samples I had that we could talk about hands and feet. Literally.
No.
Nothing. Nothing in found, apart from one fox that looks like it's been in the bins, I'll show you in a minute. Nothing else that I have has any hands or feet. Well, I'll show you. So we've got the baby bunny.
Yeah.
Doesn't actually need any limbs because it's just as it is. Actually, I'll let you into a secret with this one. So Andy helped me out at the Country Living Fair a couple of years ago, before COVID, I think. And I left him on the stand while I went to teach a workshop. I came back and he'd picked the baby bunny up. Now, he's not a needle felter, but he picked the baby bunny up and he decided that he would have a go at needle felting the only baby bunny sample that I had. And this is what he did to it.
Little feet.
Get some feet on the bottom of it. So actually, this one. But I'm like, you can't be doing that.
Adding detail. Oh my god.
Instructions. So.
Well, I have a story about partners doing needle felting. When I was still starting out, but I was just starting to sell my pieces and get interest in them. And Steve thought, oh, I'll have a go. And he did your fox. He got one of the kits and did that. Secretly did it, the little sleepy fox. And he came out after, I don't know, a couple of nights secretly doing it, and said, look what I've done. And it was very sweet and everything, but he was like, I just thought, I might be able to help you out. And how do you tactfully say, not a cat in hell's chance?
Steve. Oh,
I know. Bless him. Yeah. Well, our relationship survives on being brutally honest.
Yeah. No.
So, yeah.
Very healthy.
No. Yeah.
That's so funny.
But
I've got two more things to show you regarding feet. So I've actually.
Oh yes, we love it.
I've been working on Bertie Bunny today because the Bertie Bunny, which had been a club box, had a blue jacket on.
Yeah.
And it looks very much like Peter Rabbit, especially with a blue jacket. I mean, So we wanted to launch Bertie as a kit out with the club. So we decided we'd better change the colour of that jacket. So he's now got his Crafty Kit Company red jacket on. But these are the feet.
Oh! Yes.
And they're literally little sausages.
Yeah.
Just belted onto the bottom.
Yeah.
And just really simple. And the arms, again, are just tightly rolled up wool with the brown belted onto the end. So there's no detail on there, but I think that it's all that's required, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, do you want to see the fox that's been in the bin?
Yeah, go on.
Not literally been in the bin, but it looks like he's been raiding the bin.
Like he's had better days. Oh, fella, what have you been doing? He's definitely had a good life.
He's had a good life.
Look, he's had a good life. Yeah.
But this is actually. Yeah, he's really sweet. So we've got two of these. This is the one that I don't put out on display, and Alison's one is the one that's really very, it's very detailed and beautiful looking. But it's been quite well handled, so it's getting a little bit raggy as well. But this guy here, designed by Alison Rumbles, and it's got the simple armature, the basic armature inside. And if you just have a look at his legs and feet, again, there's no real detail there, but there's no detail required, I don't think. It's just the wire was left long enough so that the feet could then be just turned up at the end, and some darker wool felted onto the ends. Yeah,
and nothing more needed. Absolutely. No. I mean, I've done, which I haven't finished, and he's been not finished for a very long time, a little dachshund, but the same thing by turning around. His little feet here. I mean, once again, it's just a little bend for his little tootsies. And whilst he's not finished, he won't get an awful lot more detail. I'm not going to be doing individual toes or anything on him, because in fact, I think, once I've actually finished his face with his little ears pinned on, and sometimes it's, and especially with this type of dog, it's all about, the body. I don't see the point in he's got his little lopsided sit down, but once again, just a little bend in the
lovely
thing. And that's all that's needed.
Did the legs get added on afterwards then?
No, that is a full armature with his tail as well. So no, put them all on the same time. But so once again, that's where I do it. Add a bit of wool and then make him lopsided, and because a lot of them like to sit like that, don't they? But yeah, and we were saying earlier that I do have a piece where I've done more detail. That's the full piece is a lot of detail, but to get to this, you just have to do the steps all the way up. You start with the basic, that's how long I'm going to do the feet, and then you get perhaps a dog where you go, he's going to be sitting sideways and that way, and then eventually, once you're used to doing those bends in the legs, you can do it where you're actually giving him little hocks and things. And there are courses on YouTube which absolutely show you how to copy those. And you mentioned earlier Michaela, her work's beautiful. I mean, if you want to study someone's work of how they get, because she does foxes and the painted dogs. In fact, she entered the Wildlife Artist of the Year competition, that she got through. She's got through to the with her painted dogs. So we could needle felters, yay!
Yeah, brilliant. But but I see in quite a lot of needle felting groups on Facebook, people coming on. I've just started needle felting. I'm feeling so sad. I'll never be able to. I'm not as good as you guys. I'll never be able to do. But what they don't realise actually is that with a little bit of time and patience, you can get really good at needle felting really quickly. It's just
and you decide, don't you? You decide what you want to do, because people say to me, because you haven't been doing that long, and I say no, but I decided that was where I wanted to get to this kind of detail with the animals and things, and it was important. But I still had to work my way up. I didn't just one day go, I'm going to do a wolf today with, full detail and everything. It absolutely doesn't come like that. And sometimes some people prefer to do the more caricature things, where you're never going to do that kind of detail.
Exactly. And that, to be honest, that's, most of our kits are based on that, because we find that if we tend to design kits that are more entry level, because most of our consumers are beginners, especially they're buying their first couple of kits and maybe never needle felted before, so they tend to be that kind of style. And it's only after you then practice on your own, as you say, and watch some YouTube videos and be inspired by people like Michaela and the gentleman felter as well. He's just amazing. Fabulous.
But he's so tiny. He does such tiny things. Oh my God.
Be inspired by, but don't be frustrated if you can't achieve what you're doing, because obviously that's a lot of practice and probably a lot of stabbed fingers as well.
Stabbed fingers, yeah, absolutely. And as you say, don't get depressed about it. And now there are so many resources around that, if you really do want to get to that level, I mean, I can point you in the direction of many tutorials to go to, which are free on YouTube, and just work your way through. But don't expect to be brilliant first time. It's like everything. It takes practice. I mean, I go back to some of my original things, and sometimes you look at them and think, oh my God, but actually you were delighted when you did it. Yes. Because you got to that point and were like, yes, look at that, look what I've managed to do.
I'm just looking over there at that little cat that I made. I'll go and get it actually.
Oh, the one from the kit. Yes, I remember. And also, I was in one of the groups they were saying the other day, and I thought absolutely spot on. Somebody was saying, they got to a point in their needle felting and they were selling their pieces, and someone had come up to them and said, oh, will you be able to do this? And they said, well, you can see my work. This is what I do. And it was like, I want you, it's almost like, you do caricatures, I want you to do this. And they were like, no, you need to go to someone who charges a lot of money to do that. I'm at this stage, and that's why my pieces don't cost that. And you think, yes, and that's right,
If people have never needle felted before themselves, they don't understand, how long it takes and the materials and all the rest of it. But yes, there's an example of progression. Not that I am, I don't aspire to be a Michaela Bartlett or an Anna Potapova, or, you know, I would love to have the time and dedication to produce beautiful work like that, but that's not what I do. But I thought that was amazing.
No, but I still think he's cute. I do. But you know, as you say, you look back at it and think, oh.
But you know, I just because I'd never done it before, and I now completely get when I'm teaching a class and people make something, and that amazement that they made a thing, you know, and it just appears out of the wool. So I do get it. I do get it.
Yeah, my first thing like that was a little bunny, and I did it on YouTube and followed it, and you sort of get to the end and go, oh my god, it actually looks like a bunny. I remember running downstairs to Steve going, look, I've actually made a thing. It's like, I made a thing, and he recognised what it was, you know. So
Brilliant. No, that's good. Well, I've not been watching the time at all, so I've got no idea how.
No, 40 minutes. We've been going on for 40 minutes. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Great. All right then.
So, don't forget, everybody, subscribe, comment and like, and then you'll be entered into the draw onto both the Crafty Kit Company and the Tootique YouTube channels. That's the word I'm looking for. But, okay. So, next time we're talking faces.
Yeah, look forward to it.
There you go. Okay.
Right.
So, goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from her.
Yes.
See you soon.